Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. Let's take it back a bit. Hey guys, Bart from TST Industries here. Little known fact about me, back in 1997, I decided, after watching several skydive movies, that year I decided that I want to take up skydiving. It started in 1997 up in Malone, New York by the Canadian border at a place called Malone Parachute Club. This was a nonprofit organization that was basically just a cheap way to introduce to skydiving and to get your license. And I was fortunate enough to take part in that little community and benefit from what they had to offer. I had to do a ground school.
Okay, now you'll be coming out here and you'll be doing a stable fall face down frog modified. Now out here comes the static line because it goes like from this to here, see? And then the pilot chute will open and it'll pull the bridle out and then the main canopy will be...
Typically this ground school would take 6 hours, but I was the only one that showed up because the weather was a little iffy, and also I drove 6 hours to be there. So I showed up, the teacher was ready to go. He goes, "Hey man, do you want to just do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's not wait for anybody else." So we did the ground school in about 2 hours, and then it was time to suit up and get introduced to the gear and go. They gave me this rig that looked gigantic. It was some old gear before 0P, and it didn't even have 2 handles for cutaway and reserve deployment. It just had one single release. It was a pretty funky looking gear, but back then, you know, in the late 90s, this was kind of standard student gear at a small parachute club. I didn't know any better, so I was like, "Hey, put it on me, let's go." We walked over to the plane and then took out this line that was a static line that actually connects to the deployment bag that the parachute fits within inside the container. And as you fall away from the plane, that stretches out and takes out the canopy. There's no room for error, for pilot error. So I wasn't in charge of actually deploying my parachute. The fall away from the plane was gonna deploy my parachute. I had a radio strapped to me for the canopy flight afterwards. I was just ready to go. I was not worried. There was no like moment of like, oh crap, what am I doing? This was just like, I felt like this was my destiny. I was like Johnny Utah in Point Break, man. I was living my dream. Why not? Let's go do it. So we loaded up this plane. At that point, after boarding, I was like kind of feeling, you know, I was feeling jitters. Like anytime you do a thing for the first time, even when you go on a roller coaster. Which, anyway, if you guys enjoy roller coasters, don't skydive because it's gonna ruin it for you. Sorry, little segue. Anyway, we got up to altitude. I was jumping from 6,000 feet, if I remember correctly. This was a jump where, you know, you clear away from the plane and the parachute gets deployed right away, so there's no need for free fall altitude. So they dumped me out at 5,000 or 6,000 feet, parachute opened, checked it, started flying around, and I was like, oh my God, I am home. At that point, I was just, this is me, man. My first jump, and this is me. I've arrived at this new thing that I just have to pursue. So that weekend, I ended up doing 7 or 8 jumps through the weekend and getting to free fall by myself. And then the next weekend I came up, I just started banging them out. And I think in 3 weekends, I had my license to go solo. I bought gear, and it just all snowballed. There's a lot of different disciplines within skydiving that are considered a sport within themselves. So I was mostly interested in free flying, which is mostly vertical, but also incorporates different attitudes of body to earth. This was, for me, a really big challenge, and the talent that was at my drop zone and surrounding drop zones was really impressive. There were a lot of world champions within their own realms. So I got to fly with really great people that I got to learn from. And for me, any activity I get engaged in, I have to keep learning, otherwise it loses my interest. So I think one year I did close to 1,000 jumps. That was pretty crazy. Like my skill level just went up crazy. And at the same time, I was flying in the wind tunnel a little bit. So you put all that together and I was really like on a sharp slope up in my skill. At the same time, every time you jump out of a plane, you do your free fall portion and then you have to land a parachute. I got introduced to canopy piloting, which was yet another different facet to this sport and was also challenging, and you just could not get away from flying a canopy after a skydive. So I took it upon myself to learn as much of it as possible, again, challenging myself, and I stepped down in canopy sizes to the most sporty canopies that you could possibly find for, you know, standard sport jumpers, and that was fun. Then I got introduced to competitive canopy piloting. At that point, I think I had about 2,000 jumps, 2,500 jumps. I would compare it to being knee deep, close to elbow touching in a corner at a very fast pace at a track in a race, except, you know, on a racetrack, you get to do it over and over and over because you keep lapping. With a skydive, you just get to do it once and then you have to get sweaty packing your parachute and get back on the plane. But there is a certain element of excitement that you need to feed your life, to make you feel alive. I'm told that I have a very small hypothalamus in my brain, and that limits, it filters my experiences. So I need really big experiences to make myself feel alive. Some people may, you know, do a kickflip on a skateboard and be like,
stop, do a kickflip! Yo, do a kickflip! Do a kickflip!
I need to go jump my butt out of a plane or like race a motorcycle or just name anything I've done in my life. I just need that to like really feel alive. I wouldn't say it has affected my outlook on life too much. Skydiving is more like kind of a legal drug where you need it, you go get it. And it's fun and it's exhilarating and it just settles you down from whether you have anxiety or whatnot. You come down and just like, life is good. So the only description for that I would offer is when stuff is going mediocre or not so good in life, you go get your butt on a plane, you jump out, come down, and your outlook changes because you feel alive again. I think my most memorable skydiving experience would have to be flying into a football game halftime show, dressed as James Bond, at night, chasing a villain who was my teammate. We're performing a halftime show. This dude has the audacity to steal the key to a briefcase that has some secret information in it, and I have to jump after him and retrieve it. So we come in, my partner goes in first, lands, everybody goes nuts in the stands, and I come in after him, and I'm wearing a tux, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna amp this up a little bit. I come in, I start sliding, I walk it out, I chop my canopy off. There's a quick disconnect system called cutaway, so I just cut it away, and I just run after him, I tackle him, and we look like we're brawling, and I retrieve the key, give it to the Grand Marshal. Everybody goes nuts again, and then, you know, my wife runs over and gives me a kiss, and it was awesome. In 2014, my wife became pregnant with our first child, and I felt a little uneasy about having all these dangerous sports as hobbies. This was just one facet. Skydiving was just one facet. I was riding motorcycles at the track. I was doing other things. There's a base jump peppered in here and there. So I wanted to scale back on something that exposes me to harm. In early 2015, I decided that I'm gonna phase out my skydiving for the moment. I didn't say I quit. I just wanted to, like I said, limit my exposure. So I sold my gear and I didn't look back. But a couple of years after, I think like 3 years after that, I just started jonesing. I mean, I had a racing career going, club racing, nothing really serious, but it was fun and it was challenging and it was taking a lot of time from me. I did get my kicks from it, you know, the adrenaline. Every time you get on track, you have that race start and you go into turn one with all these people just clashing against each other, and you know, you're basically elbow to fairing with some guys, and you still get that awesome feeling that makes you feel alive, like gets the blood flowing through your neck swells up and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going after it. I still had that, but I felt the need to go skydive again. And little by little, I felt less and less guilty about doing that while having 2 kids at that point. And my wife actually came to me and said, I want to skydive again. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to skydive too. I think we should go back to doing that. So I reached out to some of the companies that make the gear that I like to jump, Performance Designs in DeLand, Florida, and United Parachute Technologies in DeLand also. And they helped me out with some gear. They built it for me. It's all custom made stuff. So these people that run these companies really, you know, did me a solid and hooked me up with some really top-notch stuff. So I just started jumping again, and here we are. This is a year and a half later after my restart, and I have not come back to competition. I don't really have the desire for that. Just like I'm not racing right now, I kind of put that behind me for the moment too. There's just this level of stress in competition that at this moment in time, with our business booming here and just a lot of things happening, and my kids being young, and me just enjoying hanging out with the kids and my family and my wife, I'm kind of not ready for that yet. Maybe I will be one day, but at this point, I'm not game for that just yet. But I am having a lot of fun with it. We have some friends that own some badass aircraft, and they're aerobatic pilots, total pros. I mean, these guys go beyond just, you know, flying Miss Daisy. As you will see in some footage that we're gonna roll for you, these guys do some really awesome stuff flying around, and I got to do a little impromptu project with them, and I wanna show you guys the footage. I think you get a kick out of it. So let's roll that.
What's up? I'm Melissa Burns. This is Trent Burns, and our company, Burns Barnstormers, offers ride services, skydiving displays, and we also do some air shows and stunt work. We did an awesome skydive just now out of our 1940s vintage biplane called a Waco.
All right, so this is a 1942 Waco UPF-7. It has a Continental 670 cubic inch engine on the front, which sounds like a lot, and it's gonna have a lot of power. Well, it's got 220 horsepower, and this thing's kind of a heavy horse, so it doesn't perform really well in the climb, so it takes a while to get up there, but once we get some altitude underneath this, it is a ton of fun. And like I said, we do some skydives out of this one. And then over there, we've got...
So this is the Edge 540, built by Zivco Aeronautics in Guthrie, Oklahoma. I had this built for me in 2005. It's one of the most high-performance aerobatic planes on the planet. You can pull plus and minus 10 Gs in this airplane, 400 horsepower on the nose, and yeah, let's go and have a little fun and take a look at what we did today.
My future in skydiving at this point is kind of uncertain to me. I treat it like a fun outlet to have and to share with my wife and my friends, and hopefully my kids one day. I know my younger daughter is always talking about jump at the airplane, or some semblance of that syntax. So she's amped about it. I know she wants to go. I think after jumping with my kids, I'm probably gonna be complete in that realm. Besides that, I wanna do fun projects with friends. Melissa and Trent, they are stunt people of great skill. I would like to see TST cooperate with Melissa and Trent and their Barnstormers company to put together a multidisciplined stunt, or maybe subsequent stunts beyond that. These guys showed us a great time, great hospitality, and shared their equipment with us, and also performed a stunt with us. You know, there was a lot of dual discipline stuff going on, and we had a great time doing it. You guys check out burnsbarnstormers.com to see what they have to offer. They actually offer plane rides of different kinds to people that want to just go sightsee around the Central Florida area. And I know Melissa is interested in doing stunt work again, and she's going to be organizing some events. So if you have the need for some stunt work, check her out. I would also like to thank United Parachute Technologies out of DeLand, Florida. They make superior gear, and that is what I fly. And also for parachutes, there's no better than Performance Designs out of DeLand, Florida. Great company. I have a lot of friends that work there. I know the people in R&D. So if you guys find yourself needing to jump something, you want to jump that gear. All right. Thank you for your time watching this video. I hope you enjoyed our little stunt here and some of the footage that we provided for you. I know it seems a little weird to have skydive footage on a motorcycle channel, but you know, over the years, a lot of people have asked about personal details on the founder of TST Industries, so we figured, hey, why not? It's really entertaining, let's do something fun. And this was basically what we thought was gonna be fun to show. We are interested in making subsequent episodes about different happenings here at TST Industries, and also the history of TST Industries, as well as maybe a little bit more history on me. If you guys are interested, I will leave that up to you. If you are interested, drop your comments in the feed below, and we'll make that happen. And maybe when we run out of material, you guys can tell us, you can give us suggestions of what I should get into next. And no, I'm not going over Niagara Falls in a barrel. What else do we do? Dino. Yeah. All right. You still rolling? Yeah. All right. I don't know if that was any good.
I think that was good.
What's that? That's a tough one to answer. What was the question again?
So,
Okay.